Remember when we talked about being original by being specific? If you can search within yourself or your own memories for that, then research is the key to authenticity and specificity. So today, we're gonna talk about research. You don't need to know everything about the world of your characters, but you need to want to know. Some teachers even say that research is the bedrock of a film, as it lends richness and informs the rules of the film's world. What you learn during research will allow you to immerse your audience fully in your setting, with the goal being that they inhabit that world, rather than just you telling them about it. And building your understanding of the world will inform the decisions you make when developing your characters, their morally grey themes, and even the core conflict of your story. The process is simple. You have an idea, you research it, then you sleep on the idea, and then you choose what you want to incorporate in your story. But it's very easy to get lost in research, so you must be careful not to let research lead you away from the original idea that sparked the film in the first place. You should be open to the different places that it might take you, but try not to get lost and mistake procrastinating for research. I do it all the time.
What do we say to the god of procrastination?
Not today.
This period is one of the most interesting, but also hardest emotionally, because in a way you feel that you're not doing anything. You're just researching. How do you even explain it to your parents when they keep interrupting you since they think you're not doing anything?
Whenever you come in here and interrupt me, you're breaking my concentration. You're distracting me, and it will then take me time to get back to where I was. Understand?
However, it's very important you take it seriously. Some people try to structure it so they don't get too lost. But for me, I think structuring it is almost impossible and impractical. You're just looking for inspiration, so you gotta be open to go to new places.
That's it.
But just like everything in life,
Balance is key.
allow yourself to get lost sometimes and find new interesting things you never even thought about. But also not too lost that you end up watching cat videos. Most of your research won't even make it into the script anyways, which I know can be frustrating. But it will all help build the foundations of it. Knowing more than you need to know and becoming an expert on a subject matter will allow you to confidently write about it in a way that is truthful and specific.
When did you become an expert in thermonuclear astrophysics?
Last night.
The more research material you have, the higher your chances will be of finding interesting details, scenes, characters, and connections between real life and the story you want to tell.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
But beware that the audience will appreciate a good story, even if not 100% accurate. Those films actually tend to be quite boring. So gather it all up and then always ask, how does this serve the film and the story? And how can I make it more interesting? If it doesn't serve your story, then you don't need to use it. I know it's probably cool and you spent like 3 hours reading about it, but screenwriting is like mathematics. If it doesn't add to your story, it only subtracts.
That's not how mathematics work.
Well, the point is that you don't need to put all your research in the film. If you don't use it now, save it for your other stories.
Yeah. If you could just go ahead and make sure you do that from now on, that would be great.
But although 100% accuracy isn't good, you should always be careful when taking liberties with reality. Keep those elements as true as possible and do it as sparingly as you can. Tip: always look for nuggets of information that can lead to an interesting and dramatic scene or plot points. There are two types of research. The research you undertake before you even start writing, which is more general, and the research you do as you write, which is more specific and focused. Before writing, research is more an exploration of a topic. You can watch documentaries, films and videos, read books, newspapers and magazine articles, talk to experts, interview people, involve yourself in its community, listen to relevant music of the time period, go to art galleries and museums, travel to the country you want to explore, etc.
I love it! I love it!
While writing, you'll begin to have questions about particular things, so you'll tend to use more articles and specific Google searches. But you'll probably also watch some YouTube videos. Beware of this. YouTube is a black hole, and it will suck you in very easily. I know I probably shouldn't be saying this, but it's true. You're probably even watching this while researching. And if you are, finish the video, stop procrastinating, and go back to writing. Tip: avoid small mistakes. If you're writing about the real world, get the facts straight. If you're writing about a magical world, stay consistent with the laws that you've created. Reaching out to others will be quite important, even though we tend to overlook this part of the process. I'm quite antisocial, so I definitely struggle with this element for sure. But people will usually give you perspectives that you cannot find anywhere else. For example, you can read as many books about living in the slums, but it's never going to be the same as talking to a person that actually lives there. Also, meeting real people will inspire you in specific ways to write your characters. And if you do have the chance to visit the actual location you want to write about, that's even better than googling some low-res images.
Emma, this is bullshit. When am I being creative?
You gotta be patient. I know this whole thing can feel sometimes like a mechanical process, but I think thorough research can actually inspire creative conversation. You will feel more creative as you find out more things about what you want to write. And the research I'm talking about is not all done in a scientific way. As we discussed, most writing and directing is connected to life experiences, and life experiences are key for creativity. So allow yourself to go through the ups and downs of life. Don't protect yourself behind the keyboard. You're writing a love story? Go fall in love. Get heartbroken. How can you talk about love when you've never felt it?
The ones you love, boy, you shouldn't hurt it all.
Tip: listen to music and dance for creativity to flow. Collect images for inspiration. Go for a walk. Walking has always been a great way for me to think, because it activates my body and my brain without making me too tired. To summarize, before you begin writing any script, you'll need to work through 3 steps. Internal search. Look within yourself and your experiences. How can you relate what you've been through in your life to what you want to talk about? For example, just because you were born in a middle-class family in America, it doesn't mean you can talk about an orphan in France. There are probably things in which your lives share some similarities. Maybe both of you feel alone in an ever-changing world. Or maybe you can even find something less pretentious. But once you do find those similarities, then it's time to start your research. External research. Dig into the facts and the reality of the world to ensure believability and truthfulness. This will take a lot of time, but you need to know all you can about orphanages in France if you want to write that story. Maybe even visit some, and be specific about that research. France is a pretty big country, so where in France does it take place? Don't say Paris, come on. France is bigger and much more diverse. Find that little village or city. Be patient with this research and you will feel the rewards once you start extrapolating it into your story. Character story extrapolation. Where does your character come from? What would his day-to-day be like in France? Does he hate Parisians as much as everyone else? What could be his motivations if he lived in this world? The research you will do will eventually be converted into helping you build your 3-dimensional character and through it your truthful and unique story. Once you've got all of this sorted, you can finally stop procrastinating by telling yourself that you're still researching. Now, go write it.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
The eyes are open, the mouth moves, but Mr. Brain has long since departed.
After all this, it's time to start writing. Do not postpone it.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
And when I say start writing, I don't mean start writing the script straight away, unless that's your thing. I personally like to work on the treatment heavily before going to the script, but that's up to you. Exercise. When you wake up in the morning, don't check your phone. Start writing, maybe just free writing whatever comes into your mind. All ideas. Something will be interesting. What's important is for you to just start writing it down and putting it on paper.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
Even as you do your research, you will feel tempted to start writing, and you will even write a few things. That's great, so now just go through your notes and start putting them in order. Almost as easy as if you're telling a story about what you learned to your friends at a party. If you don't have friends or a party to go to, just use your imagination. It's what I do anyway.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
Tip: be clever about your choices when writing. In school, they will tell you to write something that you can actually get made at this point in your career. But it's up to you. Do as you wish. Have fun. That's why we chose to be filmmakers in the first place.
Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
Eh ben, can only écrire at Tuesday nights when the moon is 3/4 full.
Yeah, I know. Like you, a lot of people are superstitious about the writing process. They write wearing the same clothes, or they all tie to objects that get them in the mood. Personally, I'm not a big believer of those things. I feel like all of that is just our anxiety and self-doubt taking over. The more I wait for inspiration to strike, the more I realize that actually it will only come when I start freaking writing.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Some people love to write in coffee shops, as watching other people's interactions can give them inspiration. I used to do that too. As I got older, I find I became crankier and the coffee shops louder, so I prefer to work at home or in a calm environment. Let's just dive in and start. If you've done all the previous work, then it should just come simply to you.
Ouais, but it's not good. It all sounds so cliché, huh?
Well, then try to refuse your first instincts and challenge them as you write. Some people actually prefer to just let all the bad writing out first and then rewrite it. See what works for you. But warning, your idea will always sound better in your head than when you write it down. Once you write something down, suddenly you'll start seeing holes and flaws in it. Suddenly your interest to continue writing will fade. It's normal. In your head, the idea was amazing. Now it sucks.
This is the worst!
I know it's very tempting to stop writing. You will find all the excuses in the world to give up, but try not to. Try to actually finish writing down your whole story. It's better to have finished writing one bad outline than to never have finished writing 10. Because
you learn more from finishing a failure than you do from writing a success. And you definitely learn more from finishing a failure than you ever do from beginning something that is fantastic but stops.
And I know you're probably still wondering if the story is worth telling, or even if you're talented enough to write it. But just say screw it, accept you have no talent, accept what you write will be bad, and just start writing. Maybe after, you'll even realize that you're not as talentless as you thought. But if you never write, you'll never know. So follow Shia LaBeouf's advice and
just do it!